Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. And I hope you're all well. Of course, we've just arrived in March, and the dog's going mad over there. Yeah, and it made me think, it reminded me, we've got a trial coming up, haven't we? I cannot wait for this trial. This is Samantha Murphy, this lady who just went out jogging over there in Australia, down under in Australia. Went out for a jog one Sunday morning, like so many people do, and like she did on a regular basis. She was training for a charity run she was going to do. She was supposed to be, she told her family she'd be gone for about an hour. And this poor lady, she just never, ever, this poor woman never, ever came home. She had 3 children, 1 very young child, 2 teenagers, a husband. And that was it. That was it for Samantha Murphy. She's never been seen since. And unfortunately, although somebody has been arrested and charged with her murder, her remains still have not been found. And all this happened, was it 2 years ago now? It was in February, wasn't it? Which, of course, is summertime in Australia, in Ballarat, in southern Australia, is it? Near Melbourne. Yeah, Ballarat is a sort of, it's not that small a town, but it's not a great big city either. Samantha lived there with her husband Mick and her 3 children. Her and Mick had a body repair shop, you know. They worked there to get together. They've been married a long time, sort of since forever, teenage sweethearts, more or less. And yeah, all that was stolen from her and her family. She was stolen from her family by Patrick Stevenson, allegedly. And it was a real shock when it came out who'd been arrested for this crime, because he's just a young man, very, very young. I think at the time of arrest, he was 22 years old. Son of an NFL player, probably a little bit, his dad's probably a local celebrity in that area, even though he didn't play that often for the Australian football team, but you know, he did, and so he'd be quite Patrick Oren Stevenson, this guy's called, and his dad was known as a semi-famous footballer. I'd say, I wouldn't say he's one of the most prolific. As I say, didn't play that often for Australia, but he did. So probably in his local town, he was a bit of a local celebrity, and you know, when his son was arrested for this. So Patrick is a young lad. He's 2 years older now. A tradie, had a girlfriend. You know, he had a little bit of a checkered history in that he had been arrested for driving his motorbike into a tree when he was under the influence, more or less, and nothing had come of that. You know, he liked to enjoy himself on a night out like most young people do. We've seen some videos of him getting coked up, you know, totally off his head. But, you know, he won't be the only young person to do that, will he? So that's not a crime in it. Well, it probably is a crime to take cocaine. I'm not sure what the rules are on drugs in Australia, but, you know, it's not that's not so deviant as whatever he has allegedly done to Samantha. Now, of course, we don't know all the details. All the police have said this is a targeted attack, as far as they're concerned, deliberate attack. So, you know, they made it clear when they did announce, they thought that this was something untoward happened to Samantha. Before they actually arrested Patrick, they did say they thought it was targeted attack. They made it clear it was not an accident. It wasn't him driving home drunk and running over Samantha by accident. Targeted attack. That's how they clearly described it. So he's under arrest for murder, but he has not cooperated at all with the police. He's pleading not guilty, which is his prerogative, of course. Be interesting to see if, as it comes up to the trial now, because that's the reason I'm doing this video, because now we're in March, there's literally only a month to go to the trial. We've waited a long time for this trial. It's been bad enough for us, never mind how it, imagine how it is for Samantha's family. Because not only that, they don't have her remains back. They've been told she's murdered, but they've not been able to have a burial service. You know, their mum, wife is lying out there somewhere, and this twonk Patrick, he's not cooperating. Now, of course, he could be innocent, you know, because he's not been proven guilty yet. But the police, apparently there's so much evidence in this case. This is going to be a repeat of the mushroom murder case. It's going to go on and on and on, because there is apparently so much electronic data in this case, over 400 items, that's what the delay has been, to give both the prosecution and the defence a chance to digest and decide how they're going to deal with all the evidence that's going to be presented. So I would not be surprised if nearer the time, well, say nearer time, it's only a month to go, if Patrick, you know, discovers, or his lawyers advise him to plead guilty for a lesser charge, and, you know, get a lesser sentence. I do think this is possible, that even after all this wait, we may not see a trial. But I don't know if that'd be a good thing or a bad thing. You know, there's always a good thing in that. The good thing, of course, is that it spares the family the trial, which trials are exhausting for the victims' families, etc., and harrowing. But I do think as well, you know, I really have mixed feelings after seeing that happen with Stephen Stearns and, you know, Madeline Soto, his stepdaughter, more or less, and also seeing it happen in the Idaho case with the horrible, sinister Brian Kohberger. Is there a sense of, I don't know, because then if they end up pleading guilty and avoiding a trial, the family never gets to find out then what happened. I mean, they can sometimes not get to find out what happened even with a trial, but at least with a trial, as it goes through, the prosecution will present the evidence against the person, and the family get to know a bit more about what happened, and that can be, I should imagine, you know, that'd be harrowing in one way, but you know, there'd be this relentless curiosity. You want to know what's happened to your loved one. What were their last moments like? What did this person do to them? So sometimes if somebody pleads guilty, I'd say with Stephen Stearns is a prime example, I'm still angry about that. I'm glad that he pled guilty. In fact, he didn't plead guilty, did he? He pled no contest. So he hasn't even pled guilty, that one. Stephen Stearns pled no contest. And the only good thing about that, in my eyes, is it meant that the court, because Madeline had been recorded, hadn't she, in compromising positions. He'd recorded her while she was probably drugged, while he was, you know, doing things to her that he shouldn't have been doing. So at least those videos and photos didn't have to be shown in court, because, you know, that's sad for Madeline's memory, isn't it? But the fact that it's been allowed to plead no contest, not even say the words guilty. And then he spoke, didn't he, at the end, and said that Madeline was a joy. Oh, God, that horrible man. I wonder how he's getting on in prison. We don't really hear anything about it now, do we? Maybe I need to sort of try, you know, is he being targeted in prison? You sort of hope so, don't you, really? Because he, you know, Stephen Stearns is a person who represents himself as a victim, doesn't he? He's never admitted that he killed Madeline. But obviously he did, because he removed her from the house when she was deceased, tried to pretend he'd taken her to school, etc. Anyway, he tried quite a few things, and of course he was stupid, so stupid he couldn't get away with any of them. But yeah, it's frustrating not knowing exactly what happened there. Same with Brian Coburg. We don't know his motive. He pled guilty in the end. I mean, the family got their day in court with him. They did their victim impact statements, etc. But they don't know. Nobody knows why Brian Coburg did what he did, killing those poor young people. So, this is it. So, although it would be a relief in one way if Patrick decides to change his plea and plead guilty, that would be good, wouldn't it, in a way? But of course, would it end up to the frustration of the family not really knowing what happened and why? And also, would he then say where he put Samantha's remains? Because this is the $6 million question, isn't it? I think this boy, man, whatever, I suppose he's 24 now. I think he will stick with his not guilty verdict. I think he'll, not guilty plea. Unless he's absolutely forced to change it. I think he's going to be a bit like Aaron Patterson, thinking he's too clever. That he's clever enough to get away with this, or take his chances on it. He's just not cooperated at all, and his girlfriend's sticking by him, as far as I can see. His mum and dad are sticking by him, which fair enough, he's their son. Maybe they think he's innocent. But the police say they've got overwhelming evidence. So, of course, in typical Australian fashion, as far as, we don't know nothing. We don't know anything at the moment. We've got nothing gets leaked, does it? Or they're not transparent at all until the trial. And when the trial happens, we will get to find out, hopefully, exactly what happened and why the police are so convinced that it's Patrick who did this horrible crime. Whatever it is, I mean, did he just take the opportunity as he was driving past, or did he stalk her? Was he waiting for her? Is there any sex motive involved? A lot of people saying because she's 51 and he's 20 something, they thought that was strange, but that's not strange at all. I mean, Samantha, if he's that sort of person that would take an opportunity like that, it could have been, it's not about whether you find someone attractive or not, or if they're the same age as you. It's not about that, is it? It's about power, control. I think someone like Patrick, if he's found guilty, to me, I think he's a fledgling serial killer, because you're talking about a young guy who's got a circle of friends, he's got a job, he's got a girlfriend, seems to have a good family behind him. Why would he do this? Unless he's dark inside. Some people are just filled with darkness. And I think Patrick is filled with darkness. You'd have to be to do something like this. And also to just, not cooperate with the police or not try and help. He's definitely, he's not, he strikes me as not a good person. Now, he's changed a lot, Patrick. Well, he's been in prison. He's very muscly now. He's always wiry. The photos you see of him when he was younger, you can see he's quite a fit, healthy lad. He's all Australian boy, isn't he? But now he's got like one of those beards, or the last time he appeared in court, one of those beards that sort of start here. I wondered if he'd become a Muslim or something. That quite often happens. Prisoners become Muslims because they get better food, or they get let out to pray, or whatever. Sometimes prisoners will do whatever they have to do, or they think they have to do to get better conditions, don't they? I don't think they should be allowed to change their religion once they go to prison. Not like that, not for the faith. that's what Levi Belfield has done, hasn't he? He's another one converted to Islam in prison in the UK because he gets, I don't know, they get better conditions or whatever. So I don't think they should be allowed to change to Islam. If they're not Islamic when they go in there, they shouldn't be allowed to change to it. You know, sod their human rights. You know, they lost their human rights when they murdered somebody. I'm talking about murderers, of course. Levi Belfield is a serial murderer. He's got married as well. He's not been allowed to have a civil partnership. Anyway, let's not go into that because I'll start off on a rant, won't I? So let me just, before we go into this, so I just wanted to talk about it. When I realise that this is coming up, I do try and talk about Samantha every now and again, even though there is no news whatsoever, because I don't like to forget about people, you know, cases that we've covered. We must keep Samantha's name out there, you know, and remember her and respect her and her family, because she matters. And when it all goes quiet and everything, nobody's talking about them, it's like, to me, it's like the offender has won. You know, I want to talk about Samantha, and I want to talk about him and what horrible person he is. If he's guilty, allegedly, of course. It's all allegedly, folks. So anyway, first of all, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate every positive way you support my channel. I want to thank everybody who's bought me a Ko-fi. You're helping me on the way with the new computer. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to those of you who've already contributed. And anybody who can contribute, you can contribute from as little as €3 to buy me a Ko-fi, and it just go to it. I'm not trying to update my equipment. What else? So yeah, thank you. Not only Ko-fis, people have PayPal'd me. They've found all different ways to donate. Thank you. I also want to thank, of course, my members. The mainstay of my channel. Why not think about becoming a member? Every week we have a live, exclusive members live. Fridays it is now at round about 8 o'clock Spanish time in the evening. And of course then you get to use the members emojis, etc. And just, you know, it is a big help to me if you can support my channel by becoming a member. What else? Right, that's it. I'm going to take my banner off and let's talk about Samantha. She's the important person. You know, all the people we talk about, all the cases we talk about, the people are important. Everybody's important. You're important. I'm important. We're all important. We're all equal. Nobody is better than anybody else, except we are a bit better than the perpetrators, a lot better than the perpetrators that we talk about. Not talk about them. And the thing is, there are so many victims of crime and so many people go missing, and you know, it's hard to keep up sometimes, isn't it, with it? But we've talked about Samantha for 2 years. I'm not letting go with this case. When the trial happens, just like with if it comes to a trial, if he doesn't change his plea, I will be following the trial like I did with the mushroom murders, which was a revelation, wasn't it, that trial? It did go on an awful long time. But I'm going to do it with Samantha's case. I will stick with Samantha's case. I will cover it as much as I can. I doubt very much it will be televised. It won't be televised. But like we did with the mushroom murders, I can follow the coverage every day. There's normally some journalists there who, you know, do a daily sort of resume of what happens. I think there's going to be some big revelations in this case, just like there was in Erin's case. I mean, the thing is, with any murder case, there's always a lot of circumstantial evidence because nobody else is normally there as actually someone gets murdered, you know. So it's only would have been if Patrick did murder Samantha, would have only been him there and Samantha, you know, he's not with us anymore as far as the police say. And also, you know, we haven't even got her remains. So we only know what Patrick says, but he's saying he's pleading not guilty. So is he going to say that he's got no clue? Oh gosh, that was a dog. Are you okay? She fell off the chair. You okay? Did you bang your head? If it's yeah, he's probably going to say that he never saw Samantha, never met her, never saw her jogging. Now, have they got any forensic evidence? Like maybe that because they took off his vehicle and examined it, maybe there's some forensic evidence on in the vehicle or on the. Maybe he did run into her on purpose to sort of stop her in her tracks. What did he do to her after that? What did he do to her that was so bad that he felt that he had to hide her body? You know, it's like we'll find out all these things. So the police, I'm sure but it'd be a question of circumstantial evidence because yeah, nobody was there and actually watched it happen except for him and Samantha. So the police will be presenting probably a lot of CCTV. They'll be presenting phone data type evidence, etc. We saw a lot of that in Erin's case, didn't we? I literally cannot wait for this trial. I want it because we don't even know why the police arrested him. You know, we don't know anything because that's the way they work in Australia. So we don't know what the evidence is that led them to Patrick in the first place. And that was a case that seemed to be going on a long time, didn't it? And then suddenly Patrick was arrested out of the blue and it took everyone by surprise because he was not anybody. You know, there was some suspicion, of course, on Samantha's husband, Mick, as there always is. You know, I don't think you're ever going to stop that happening. You know, there's always, it's like because of statistics show that it normally is somebody who knows somebody who knows the Tim that does it. And also it normally is the last person to see them. There's naturally suspicion. And the thing is, I'm sure with Mick, they just wanted him to, you know, look at him, exonerate him and move on to who it really was. Okay, so hello, lovely lurkers. Thank you for watching. Hello, replay crew. Thank you for watching. I know there's probably a lot of you out there that have been with me all this time, even 2 years since this case was in the news. So thank you for sticking with me. If you're still here, if you were with me then and you're still with me, thank you for putting up with me all this time. So let's go into the chat and see who's in the chat. Hi Angel, hi Lee, hi David. Hope all well with all of you. Hi Sean. I think yeah, you're still with me. So yeah, if you're still with me, thanks for putting up with me. You know, I don't understand why people put up with me, but anyway, a lot of you do, so thank you. So let's just I'm just gonna summarize the case because there may be people, I mean, I've talked a bit about it already, there might be people who don't know anything about this case. So, you know, if you've got any questions about it, let me know. Ask the question in the chat. We'll have a little Q&A. Anything you want to ask about it, I'll answer it as best as I can. I do know a lot about this case because I have covered it in a lot of depth. So it sort of came up just, so if it was 2 years ago, yeah, it was February, summertime in Australia. I think that's where I picked up a lot of Australian viewers from covering this case. And of course, they stuck with me as well through, because I've covered a lot of Australian cases now. And probably the biggest case apart from this one was the mushroom murders, of course. Yeah, Yeah, Ballarat. So Sean's saying Ballarat is bigger than Leongatha, so there may be more reporters and coverage. Yeah, we've not heard about Erin's appeal yet either. You know, that's supposed to be going on. I'll keep an eye out for that. Now, I do think it's being held in the Supreme Court, though, the actual trial. So there is a possibility, I suppose. Maybe it will be televised. Let me just see. Yeah. So this is literally an AI overview that I'm going to be showing you. Because to be honest, for those of you who don't know anything about this, is just easier to show you this, read it out to you. Is it not going to have a feeling it's going to be in the Supreme Court? So don't forget, the mushroom murders case could have been in the Supreme Court. Who wanted it to be in Leongatha? Erin. Erin made that choice for it to be held in the smaller court. And you know why she did that? Because she thought that the jurors from that area would be easier to hoodwink than the more sophisticated jurors from, the Supreme Court area. Now, and that is a fact. Erin is so, up herself. So, because she thought that the jurors that she got in that small court in Leongatha would be like her victims. The four people she poisoned, only one of which who survived. Don and Gail and Heather and Ian. Erin Patterson, because they're sort of they're nice people. Just when I say simple people, I don't mean simple in a negative way. I mean simple in good people. Like not. How can I explain? So I don't want to offend people who live in cities either. But you know what I mean. They're not cynical. They took Erin at her word. Her victims did. When she told him she had cancer, they all prayed for her. They were good people. Elderly people, but good, and took Erin at her word, and she thought she wanted that case to be held in the small court because she thought the jurors would be like that as well. That she would get 12 jurors who were just like her victims and would believe the crap that she came out with. That's why she didn't want it in the Superior Court, because then she might get people who are a little bit more cynical, a little bit more. I'm trying to say this. I don't mean this in a negative way for either the people from cities or the people from smaller towns. I'm not trying. Everyone's different, and it backfired on her, didn't it? I bet she couldn't believe it, Erin. She thought, "Oh, I'll just talk this load of crap to this jury. They're all simple, like." And she thinks simple in the negative sense of the word. And yeah, she just thought she would have a better chance of getting off with it if it was held in a smaller court with a different jury. And of course, that's what she's basing her appeal on now as well. It's interesting, isn't it? Because was this a plan that she had? Because part of the basis for her appeal is that because this place was so small, where the court hearing, where the trial was held, the jury weren't separated properly from the media and the prosecutors and this, that, and the other, because I think there's only one hotel in the whole area, so they were all staying at the same hotel. And now Erin is using that as part of her defence, that the jury were compromised by the fact that they're all staying in the same hotel and maybe having dinner together, maybe overhearing conversations. So again, Erin is trying to manipulate. She is the master manipulator, Erin Patterson. She's trying to manipulate the scenario that she wanted. She had a choice. She could have gone to the Supreme Court. She could have gone to the bigger court. She didn't want to. And now she's using that sort of as a reason why she should appeal. Yeah, she's a she's a very devious woman, Erin Patterson, isn't she? She's not clever. She's not as clever as she thinks she is. Anyway, everybody else thought she was clever, but it's because Erin liked to be a big fish in a small pool, didn't she? She liked to be known as the intelligent one. Um, and because those other people that she had contact with were so humble. They're humble people, church going people. They're not up themselves like Erin. So she probably got told on a regular basis, "Oh, you're so clever. Oh, you're so intelligent." Is she like that? She wouldn't want to be really amongst people who are intellectuals because she wanted to feel like she was the powerful one, the one on top of it. Yeah, she even described them like that, didn't she? She described Simon's family like that to her Facebook friends. She was so sort of sniffy about them, just like she used their naivety and then, but she sort of mocked it as well. Horrible woman. Look, I've ended up getting annoyed about her. Anyway, so this trial is going to be similar, I think, if it comes to a trial in length, etc. So, the trial for Patrick Oren Stevenson, charged with the murder of Ballarat mother Samantha Murphy, is scheduled to begin. Now, it could always be postponed, but it's scheduled to begin on April the 8th. Yeah, it is. It's in the Supreme Court in Ballarat, not Melbourne, Ballarat. So, oh my God, I cannot wait for it, for justice for Samantha. Honestly, it's been a long time coming, this trial, but I hope it will lead to justice. So the 23-year-old has pleaded not guilty to the murder, which occurred after Samantha vanished on February the 4th, 2024, during a run. And the trial is expected to last roughly 6 weeks. So that's similar to Erin Patterson's, isn't it? Wasn't hers expected to last 6 weeks? So key details regarding the case. Charges and plea. Patrick Stevenson, a 23-year-old Ballarat man, was arrested in March 2024. But 2 years ago he was arrested and charged with murder. He has pled not guilty. The body is unrecovered despite extensive searches by police and community members of the Canadian State Forest and surrounding areas. Samantha Murphy's body has not been found. So sad that. I hope they do find her. I still feel maybe one day they will find her. Evidence. Police discovered items, including her mobile phone and a teal-coloured case, in a dam in June 2024. So that's been the last big break in the case. I mean, there was searches done after that, and we reported on that. But the last bit of evidence that we know about was the phone, when the phone was found. And the phone, of course, was found by the canine, a canine that specialises in sniffing out data devices like SIM cards and things like that. And the prosecution is handling an unprecedented volume of evidence. So this is what they keep saying. It's an unprecedented volume of evidence. I just can't wait to see it. So remember, in Erin Patterson's case, the prosecution called over 50 different witnesses and experts. And the defence only called one person, and that was Erin Patterson. Nobody else spoke for Erin Patterson whatsoever. Over 50 people spoke for the prosecution. And some of those were witnesses, like at the hospital and things, and some of them were experts on, remember Funky Tom, how could you forget him? People giving evidence on death cap mushrooms and data towers. And I think this is going to be similar, isn't it? So the pre-trial was scheduled to begin in November 2025. So that must have started, surely then. That must be going on or have gone on. The police investigation, Stevenson was previously taken to the bushland area. Oh yeah, remember that? That was something as well. They took him, didn't they, to the bushland area. And then they did more searches under police guard, but nothing was found. Now, whether they took him there because he said he would show them where she was, or maybe they were just trying to look for his reaction when he was around the scene. We don't know yet. We don't know why they took him there, whether it was at his suggestion, their suggestion, whether it was voluntary or they made him go. We don't know. So the case has drawn significant public attention, with community searches continuing well into 2025. So as far as we know, nobody's out there searching for Samantha at the moment, unless maybe searches are going on that we don't know about. But yeah. So Sean's saying the trial is in Melbourne Supreme Court of Victoria. So why are they saying the Supreme Court of Ballarat? So I don't know really. You know, where did it say that? It says the Supreme Court in Ballarat. Do you think that's a mistake on the AI then? It'd be the Supreme Court in Victoria, will it? Yeah. Yeah, I think they've made a mistake there, haven't they? Anyway, let's hope that it all goes ahead, that it doesn't get delayed again. It's a shame, isn't it, for this family, for Mick and the kids? 2 years. So hopefully it will not get delayed anymore. 2 years is a long time. And to be fair, if Patrick was was innocent, that's a bit of a Freudian slip there. If he was innocent, that's a long time for someone to be held, isn't it, without their trial? Because, I don't have any sympathy for Patrick, because I've got to say, I don't really think he probably is innocent. I know I'm not supposed to say that, but I just think the police wouldn't have got it this far if he was. But it's true, if he was innocent, that's a long time to be held, isn't it? If then you're found not guilty afterwards, I suppose he'll sue them then or something. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to have a look at a video from a while. This video is from a while ago, just after Patrick was arrested and charged. So we're going back in time, but it's an interesting video because it reminds us of Mick. Remember, he spoke quite a lot, didn't he? And his reaction when somebody was charged. And also we've got a friend on here speaking about Samantha. You have to let me know if you can hear it, okay? Because sometimes the sound doesn't come out for some unknown reason. So let me know that you can hear it, okay, when I start it again now. So you're saying you can't hear it? Is that what you're saying? So what I'm going to have to do is stop sharing it and go back. It normally works then when I put it up the second time for some reason. Can't hear it. Okay, let's try again. Aye, it's a gremlin. It's always gremlins. And normally, if I take it off and put it back up again, then it works. So we'll see.
We need you at home with us. Please come home soon.
Where's Sam? Today, the bombshell development with police charging a young local man with the Ballarat mother's family is desperate to know, where is her body?
Something you wouldn't want anyone to experience.
A husband's pain.
It's been a good nearly 5 weeks.
Sunday, February 4.
Mum, we love you so much and we miss you.
So this is Jess. This is Samantha's oldest daughter. I think she was 17 then, so she'd be 19 now, I suppose. But this just broke all our hearts, didn't it, watching her? She was so upset, making an appeal. This particular media interview was before the police announced that they thought it was foul play. Because remember, in the beginning, they kept saying, no, it's not foul play, it's not foul play, we've got no reason to suspect it's foul play. And then literally within a couple of days, it was, yes, it's foul play. We think that Samantha's come to some harm. And yes, we've arrested somebody. So this is what I mean. This is what the police do. They don't have to tell the truth at the end of the day. And if they think it'll harm their investigations, give too much away, they don't, do they? So, yeah, it was. Do you remember it? I mean, I remember it as clear as day, but obviously I'm the one that was doing the videos. I'm sure we follow different cases as well. And I know you don't only watch my YouTube channel, you probably watch lots of YouTube channels, but I remember this particular case so clearly. And part of the reason I remember it so clearly is because of Jess and her heartfelt pleased to get her mum
Need you
back.
at home with us. Please come home soon. I can't wait to see you.
Today, some answers for husband Mick, but not the answers any family should ever have to hear.
We're doing as good as we can. Keeping a brave face.
So do you hope to find where Samantha is? And
Of course we do.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember this girl asking that question. I wonder if she thought afterwards what a stupid question that was. Because she said, oh, do you hope to find Samantha? I mean, what does she think he's going to say? Oh, no, I hope we never find her. It was a silly question, and you can tell in his face the way he looks at her. Anyway, I'm sure she didn't mean anything by it, but sometimes journalists, they do ask daft questions.
Family.
Is this a relief after all of these weeks?
Yeah, it is. It is, definitely. Yeah, it's like someone just let the pressure valve off sort of thing.
We love Sam. She was 1 in a million.
Sam Cucciaro has spent much of the past month in Ballarat and he joins me there now. Sam, the big question remains, where is Samantha? Her family just wants to bring her home.
Ali, all of our hearts are breaking tonight for Samantha's family. Not only did they learn today that their mother, their wife, was allegedly murdered by a 22-year-old man. The police say she did not know, but Samantha's family's no closer to knowing where she is, and without that, they won't be able to hold a funeral. They won't be able to properly put her to rest. Now, while we don't know what this 22-year-old accused man told police.
And Sam, I mean, police are so adamant that this was deliberate, that she was allegedly murdered the day she disappeared, yet this 22-year-old isn't known to the family. So how did he come on the radar? Because it doesn't make much sense.
There's not much about this making sense at the moment, Ali, and this will all obviously play out through the court process, but there are...
Yeah, so apparently he's got no connection to the family whatsoever. It seems to me that he was just passing through, maybe on his way home, and he's seen Samantha, and he's an opportunist. That's what I think has happened, and that's what makes me think if he wouldn't have been caught, this man would have been emboldened to go on and do it more. You know, there was Samantha running through the woods like she'd done so many times. You should be able to walk through the woods, shouldn't you, or run through the woods? Remember, there was a big thing about this at the time, because they're in Ballarat. They've got very low sort of crime rate, but in the space of 3 months, 3 women were killed in gender-based violent cases. One of them, Hannah Maguire, her boyfriend took her and killed her and tried to make it look like a self-deletion and he set fire to her in her car. He has pled he pled not guilty to start with, and then once the trial started, he did plead guilty, and he's just been sentenced to life imprisonment, I think. I don't know actually what his sentence is. Anyway, he did plead guilty in the end, probably when he realised all the evidence, was making it impossible for him to be found not guilty. I wonder if this might happen with Patrick, because then he'll plead guilty because he'll want, he's a young man. If he got a 20-year sentence, he'd only be in his early 40s when he got out. It might seem like a long time to him now. And I think as this trial goes on, he will realise that his best chance of getting a shorter sentence is not only to admit that he did it, but to say where Samantha is. And maybe that's why he's holding on to that knowledge until he's certain that he's going to be found guilty, and maybe then he will use it as like a plea for a shorter sentence.
So many unanswered questions. Police haven't revealed how Sam was allegedly murdered or why. They did obviously say that this man does not know Sam. Or what I can tell you though is that this 22-year-old local footballer was house sitting at a property. He was staying with his.
Right, so thank you, Sean. Oh, you didn't have to do that. We all make mistakes. I thought AI, because I was just reading off AI, I thought AI had got it wrong. But anyway, at least we know where it is now. But thank you. That's very magnanimous of you. Thank you so much. So yeah, this guy, he was house sitting with his girlfriend, wasn't he, when the police arrested him? But she is sticking by him. So maybe she believes him, or maybe she's just so in love with him. It doesn't matter to her that he's murdered a 51-year-old who is just going for a run, who's a mother of 3 children and a wife. You just can't imagine it, can you? Or maybe she just can't believe it. Often you see this, don't you, with partners of twonks, male or female. They just can't believe it because, you can just almost repeat what they're going to be saying. Oh no, he's never been violent to me. Oh no, he just seemed like an ordinary guy. He's just like a nice guy next door, the neighbours will be saying. They said that about Ted Bundy. That's how they get away with it for so long. If they were like some really creepy, monstery type guy, they wouldn't get away with it because everybody would be wary of them. They get away with it because they just fit into normal society. He's a good-looking lad. But it's not about whether they can even get a girlfriend or, it's not picking, the people that go out and do this, they're people who can't get a girlfriend or whatever. No, it's nothing to do with that. It's nothing to do with that. It's completely separate from their normal life. It's about the power and control, and it's because they've got a darkness inside them. It wouldn't matter if they had 10 wives or girlfriends. It wouldn't matter, their family people. Patrick could well, if he doesn't get found guilty, if he hadn't been arrested, Patrick and he'd never been caught. Say, let's suppose he's guilty. I know it's only allegedly. But if he had never been arrested and got away with it like years ago, now, of course, there's DNA in that. But the problem with the DNA is they haven't got a body to test for DNA. they haven't got Samantha's body, but they may have Samantha's DNA in his vehicle. You know, they may have that. We don't know yet. So, you know, it's difficult, more difficult nowadays for serial killers to get away with it like they used to in the golden age of serial killers before DNA and before, because serial killers, they are more prevalent in these countries like Australia, America, Canada, for the simple reason is there's so much expanse of land where there's no CCTVs and stuff like that, isn't it? And that, well, and it always has been. When you look in the UK is such a much more smaller country. It's sort of difficult to do anything without somebody seeing something. I mean, we've had quite a lot of serial killers in the UK. Now, what I'm really interested, you know, I'm not saying we've never had any, but it's been more difficult, and it's even more difficult now with CCTV. But in these sort of countries with all the expanse of land and everything, it's still sort of easy to hide bodies, really, you know, and the bodies are difficult to find because of that, because of the terrain. But now DNA has helped that, hasn't it? So if they actually find the body, then they can link up victims of serial killers. But of course, they have to find the body first. You know, so I don't think there'll be as many serial killers now as there were in the 70s. The 70s was the golden age of the serial killer, wasn't it? Now I think it's difficult for serial killers to get away with it. But I personally think that if Patrick is found guilty, I think Patrick would carried on in his life, married his girlfriend, maybe had kids, raised a family, and still be doing things like this when he had a chance. Once he'd had a taste for it and he'd got away with it. You know, these sort of attackers, they don't normally stop until they're stopped, you know, because it is like an impulse. It's almost they can't control it, you know, because it takes over them, doesn't it? And they do it the first time, and if they get away with it the first time, they'll carry on doing it in general.
Girlfriend, and that's when police swooped around 6 o'clock yesterday morning. Neighbours in that street have told me they saw in excess of a dozen police cars there, and they say that the detectives also seized this man's white ute, and that will now also undergo forensic testing.
He was in court today. Did we learn anything further?
It was a really brief administration.
Now the car, I wonder if they've got evidence in the car. Anyway, I don't know if it was this court appearance. I did watch, because you can watch them online. I have seen him a couple of times in court, but you're not allowed to show photos from it or video it, you know, record it or anything. You know, you're allowed to watch it. You can get a link and go in there and watch it. But you're not allowed to share it like with anyone else. It's pretty ridiculous, really, isn't it? If anyone can go in there and watch it, why can't you just show it to people? But yeah, he's massive. He's like really big, broad. He was very impassive. He was very polite. You know, he looks different to on the photos we've seen of him when he was younger, because he just looked so much broader. But I just wonder if while he's in prison, you know, he's in the gym or whatever. I don't know what he's doing, but
hearing the 22-year-old didn't really say much. He didn't really look around the courtroom. He was wearing an orange high-vis shirt, and obviously we can't report his name tonight, and that's because his lawyer applied for a suppression order suppressing his identity. But worth noting, Ali, that man didn't...
Yeah, in the beginning, do you remember they wouldn't give his name? Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. In the beginning, they were suppressing his name. But anyway, that didn't last long. The media actually have been very instrumental in trying to get things out. Because, of course, the media want to report on this story. It's one of the biggest stories, apart from the mushroom murders, that's come out of Australia. You know, it's one of those huge cases that's reached international attention. So the media want to be able to report on it. so it was the media put pressure, didn't they, on the judge, and in the end the judge decided his name could be released. I mean, why should his name be protected? I mean, I suppose you could think, well, he's innocent till proven guilty, but he's not a minor. You know, if he was 17, then they protect them, don't they, their identities. But he's not, you know, and he wasn't when he was arrested. So why should he have been protected ever in the first place?
Have any supporters in court today, and Sam's family also chose not to attend.
And that's what we have to remember here, isn't it, Sam, that it's scrutiny during the toughest time of their lives.
This would no doubt have been an excruciating past few weeks for all of Samantha's loved ones, especially her husband Mick and her 3 kids. You can't really begin to imagine what they've been experiencing, not only contending with the unknown of what has happened to Sam and where she is, but also having their entire lives under the microscope. This story has not only gone around, this is a grieving family. We just hope that they very soon get those final few answers that they're desperately praying for tonight.
Yeah, and Sam, too, our thoughts are with the community, because as we've seen day after day, they have got together, they have searched. That is a community feeling great pain tonight, and as I said, our thoughts are with them. Thank you, Sam.
Yeah, I just wanted to show you that because it's from, you know, it's from a while ago, because there hasn't been anything recently, because there hasn't been anything reported, because there's nothing to report. So the last thing that was reported really were the searches that they did late last year after they'd taken Patrick out. As I say, we don't know whether Patrick volunteered to go out with them, whether they made him go out with them. What the purpose of that was, we don't know, because it's not been shared. Right, sorry, it clicked on something else there. So, yeah, now only a month to go, isn't it? So, well, I say a month, where are we now? So we're literally just into March, the 2nd of March, and the trial is April the 8th, if it doesn't get delayed. April the 8th, so not that long to go, and believe me, I will be covering it daily. You know, as I say, I doubt very much that it'll be televised, but there'll be reporters there who'll be giving, like they were with the mushroom murders, and we tuned in every day, didn't we, for the latest developments, and that's what I'm planning to do with this case. So, because this is an important case to me, to us, we followed it right from the beginning, and we want to see justice for Samantha. And what evidence do the police have? They've been so tight-lipped about everything. So I hope, you know, that they've got a tight case like they did against Erin, because although, you know, there was no smoking gun in Erin's case, all the small bits of circumstantial evidence, you know, the 50 people that the prosecution called, all added together to provide a unanimous guilty verdict for Erin. So I'm hoping for the same here. You know, if the evidence is as good as I think it's going to be, because I'm 100% certain the police won't have arrested this boy just for nothing. So, yeah. Okay, so thank you for watching. Thank you for caring, of course, about Samantha. Thank you again, Sean, for the super chat, for the being wrong jar. Oh gosh, yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, we should have a swear box and a being wrong jar. Yeah, but thank you for that. That's very kind. And yeah, thank you for caring about Sam. Please don't forget to like, to subscribe. Those are the free ways that you can help my channel so much. I appreciate everybody who even watching is something that helps. So thank you. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, as always, may your God go with you, and justice for Samantha Murphy. Thank you. Bye.